Hey y'all, Robbie Falk here from Maroon and White Daily for a little Talkin Dawgs session for you, wrapping up Mississippi State's weekend series over at Oklahoma. We'll also talk a little bit about the women's basketball team starting up the NCAA tournament as well, but we'll start with this baseball team who is now off to a 1-5 start in SEC play, and this is 2 out of the last 3 seasons that Mississippi State has lost these first 2 series to start SEC play. They were 0-6 in 2023, and now they're 1-5. And you've lost 2 series to these 2 new teams coming from the Big 12. I realize these are good teams. These are 2 top 10 teams, but Mississippi State should have won this series, point blank. If Mississippi State plays solid baseball and they play clean baseball, they beat Oklahoma. Instead, Oklahoma was the team playing good, solid baseball. They were the well-coached team. They took care of all the little things, and they go take this series. And you got to give them credit. Now, coming in, and that's what they've been. Coming into this game, the numbers are not impressive. You look across the board, pitching, hitting. They were a really good base-stealing team. They had a great Friday night starter in Kyson Witherspoon, who, strangely, that was the one game Mississippi State was able to get. But offensively, the numbers are not super impressive. They were bottom half of the league in most of the offensive numbers outside of those stolen bases. And pitching-wise, they weren't just, out of this world. Witherspoon, obviously, has been one of the best Friday night guys in the league, and I think going to be top 3 in the league. I was super impressed with him, even in a loss. But the rest of their starters have not been impressive. They have a couple of good bullpen arms. I mean, they pitched 2 guys in 2 of the 3 games, and then one of them, Bowden, pitched all 3 ball games. So they rely on just a few guys out of the pen, and State just didn't do a good job. Yesterday, on Saturday, 5 errors in the first 2 innings, just despicable defense. Every guy in the infield had an error. That's just to consistently do things like that, and we've seen the base running miscues, we've seen the blunders offensively, bad at-bats and situational opportunities defensively. We've seen this now for 4 years. That's just coaching. That's on Chris Lemonis. I mean, that is point blank. That is a coaching problem. When you're changing rosters and you're getting new players in there and you're constantly looking back and saying, if you could have done this and that in the ball game and you could have won the ball game if you just eliminate that stuff, and that's happening, 20 times in a year or something, that's on the coaching. That falls on Chris Lemonis. It's never been fixed since the national championship season. This team has steadily and consistently been, bad at certain aspects of the game. And it might not be, base running this year, or it might not be base running this game or defense this game. It just bounces around. That just falls on me to the coaching. And for Mississippi State to now be 36-60 in the last 4 years is it's just inexcusable. It should never happen at this school anymore with the resources that this place pours into baseball, the fan support, how much this place cares about baseball. To put a product on the field now that is 36-60 in 4 years to win the national championship is embarrassing. It should never happen to Mississippi State. It shouldn't be acceptable for anybody. And unfortunately, that's where Mississippi State is right now. So a weekend series loss. They're 1-5. They're about to go to a top 5 team in the country in LSU. It's about to be their 3rd straight top 10 opponent. And a lot of people are going to say, well, it's just a tough schedule. But State's not just getting beat by better teams. They're not playing their best baseball and just getting beat. They're doing things to lose games. They're giving games away. They're giving teams momentum. They're not doing what they need to do on the baseball diamond to go win. And that's not Mississippi State baseball, and it hasn't been, and it shouldn't be. But that's kind of what's happened the last 4 years for Mississippi State, and this is where you sit. You sit here, and after every single ball game, the conversations are being had. It's time to make a change or whatever. That's ultimately going to fall on Zach Selman. But until then, State's got to find a way to do these things better. And I don't know. At this point, I don't know what to say. I mean, we've said enough about it. This has been Mississippi State baseball for the last few years. I think they kind of won in spite of it last year. They had guys like David Mershon and Connor Hyzak, and you had the pitching that you did with your weekend starters, it seemed like they kind of won in spite of it. And when you put all this together now, that kind of makes sense. That's just it's kind of what it is. So 1-5 now for Mississippi State. I think we can stop talking about, what they have to do to host and all that. Now this team's just got to find a way to get back on track and try to get in postseason. I mean, at a 1-5 start, you're going to have to go on a incredible run here to get into that hosting discussion again. And I think we just need to put that to the side for now and just start talking about will this team even make the tournament if they continue on this path. Because you got LSU coming up. You do have South Carolina, who's not been good the first 2 weeks. And that'll be good to get into that series. But, say you go to LSU and you get swept and you're sitting there at 1-8, man, you're in big-time trouble with what you have the rest of the schedule. You got to go to Alabama. You got Ole Miss, which, I think they swept Missouri. But Missouri is just absolutely putrid at this point. Let's see what the schedule says here. South Carolina, very winnable series, even if Mississippi State isn't playing great. Alabama and Tuscaloosa is going to be really tough. Florida didn't have a good weekend, but, they're a very talented team. Auburn won a series at Kentucky this weekend. Then you got Kentucky coming to town, who's been talented, Ole Miss, and then Missouri. So, it's a manageable schedule, but at the same time, how can you be confident in Mississippi State at this point to be able to navigate that? This team's not playing good baseball. They're just not, and it's not a fun product to watch. They always find ways to screw up, and it's kind of depressing to watch what's happened to this baseball program. To be even mediocre at Mississippi State with the resources that they have, it just shouldn't ever happen. So that's the frustration. I know that you guys are frustrated with it too. I think we're kind of down to the majority of the fan base is kind of on the same page here. I think everybody is. There's still going to be some people that's going to be super positive and all that, but I think the bulk of this fan base is kind of tired of this. I mean, last year was really frustrating because you had a talented team and the pitching turned out to be one of the best pitching staffs in the country. And you had some pieces in the lineup that were really good, and you don't even host last year. That was kind of a telltale sign, and now you got this product, which I think you have a ton of guys that can hit in this offense. But the guys that are having success, it seems like that the game finds them defensively and they make mistakes. They can't put it all together. They have a good pitching performance and they can't get the offense. They have a good offensive performance and they can't get the pitching and defense. That, to me, is the mark of a team that's just finding ways to lose. And that's kind of just where things are right now with them. So this week, it's going to be another tough week. You got Samford coming in, which is always solid. And then after that, it's going to be a 3-game set against LSU starting Thursday in Baton Rouge. You got, 3 games at 7 on Thursday, 6:30 on Friday, and 2 p.m. on Saturday. And that's going to be an LSU team that's pretty angry after losing their series. So, yeah, it kind of is what it is at this point. We will see how it all shakes out. Real quick, the women's basketball team, big win on Saturday, going to Los Angeles and beating California in a ball game inside their own state. State had to travel across the country to play this one, and they get a huge win over Cal. It was a defensive ball game. Both teams looked pretty rusty. They looked like teams that hadn't played in about 2 weeks, and that's sometimes to be expected. But I thought State defensively, the intensity, the physicality that they played with, it was there the entire ball game. And that was really the difference in the game. State came out and was more physical. This is a California team that was 16th in the country in three-pointers made per game. They have 9 threes a game. State held them to 3 of 21. Only one game this year had they been held to a lower total. That was against Duke. They were 2 of 12 in that one. So this was the lowest percentage that they've shot all year. It was the second lowest point total that they've had this year. The other one being in that Duke game. I think they scored 38 points. So 59-46, just a defensive clinic. I thought was a well-scouted ball game and executed game by Mississippi State to get this one. And I think it was the 12th time in a row that they've won a first-round game. And Sam Purcell now 3-1 in NCAA tournament games. And all you can ask for is a chance. They're going to get it on Monday night when they take on USC, who is the number 4, number 1 seed. And USC has obviously and arguably the best player in the country in Juju Watkins, who is just an incredible player. She's going to be a pill for Mississippi State. And you're going to have another game like you did against Cal where you just muddy it up and you play really physical defensive basketball and, see what happens. I think offensive execution's got to be a lot better. They weren't great on offense, but they didn't really need to be because they muddied the game up so much. They were pretty much in control since the first quarter. There's going to be a lot more execution from USC in this game. They have players that are capable of, making sure they don't have those droughts or those long shooting droughts, I guess. So that, I think this is going to be obviously a much tougher ball game for State, but you're going to have to play probably your best game of the year to win this one on the road in LA at USC. You're going to have to play just an unbelievable basketball game. But again, you just wanted a chance to get here. And you're here now. Let's see what happens for Mississippi State. And anything that happens from here is gravy for Sam Purcell. I think this has already been a successful year. He's 22-11, got back to the tournament, wins another tournament game. Expectations for this team weren't just incredibly high. But I think he's done a good job this year. And now he's got a chance to advance to the Sweet 16. And we'll see what happens. 9 p.m. Central on Monday night. That game's going to be on ESPN between State and USC. All right, guys, thanks for checking in. We will get you ready for another week. We're rolling over another week and getting back to work as the Bulldogs will continue to play women's basketball and baseball this week. And either we will be down to just baseball and softball after Monday night, or we'll be preparing for the women's team to continue to make their run. So should be fun either way. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Would love to have you over at maroonandwhitedaily.com. $1 again for the first week that you're there. Come check us out. Come check out the community that we have over there. Listen to Thunder and Lightning anywhere that you get your podcasts. About to record that right now with Brian Haydad and have a few more thoughts on what we saw this past weekend. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you down the road.